Factoring the difference of two squares. This means we have two terms that are squared and are combined by subtraction. And so you'll have something like 4x squared minus 25. I can take the first term and take the square root of it. So that means thinking about what number times itself is going to come up with 4, and that answer is 2. And then x, I need to take only one of the two factors out, so x. So the square root of 4x squared is 2x. Then you're going to take the other term after the minus sign, and you're going to do the same thing, take the square root of it. And so that gives me 5. So to set up the factors in the way they're going to look, you need two parentheses, one with a plus sign, one with a minus sign. And then you're going to place inside them the factors that these numbers that you came up with on the side. And it's going to go in the same order that they took the square roots. So 2x goes first. And what second is 5? This whole thing is the factoring or the undoing of the FOIL process that would create the answer that was 4x squared minus 25. And so when we're factoring, we're coming up with what would you multiply in order to create that trinomial or binomial that's shown. Let me show you a couple of others. So let's look at the first part of this. 3x squared minus 75. So first step, and which is one I did not do last problem, is look to see in both terms, is there a greatest common factor? Is there something that can factor out? And I can factor out a 3. So I'm going to factor out the 3, leaving me behind x squared minus 25. And now we're going to take each individual and see, can I take the square root of each part? And so can I take the square root of x squared? That gives me x. Can I escape the square root of 25? That gives me 5. So when I factor this, I will go ahead and put what I factored out previous, so that 3. And then my two parentheses. Both of them are going to end up with an x. One's going to have a plus sign that follows, and one's going to have a minus sign that follows. And then they're both going to have a 5. And that's my answer. If I was to multiply that back out, I would come up with the original problem. So let's take one that's not going to work and show you kind of things that you'll see whenever it doesn't work. So 4x squared minus 125. So I look to see, again, is there a common factor between the two that I can factor out? And there isn't. So the answer is no on that. So next, I look to see about square roots. Can I take the square root of 4x squared and come up with a nice number? And so that would be 2x. Can I take the square root of 125. Well, when I take the square root of 125, I come up with 11.18 da 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 da. It's going to keep going forever. It's an irrational number. So that's not one that I can use for factoring and coming up with a number that will be usable for me to put in a parenthesis. And so this one, for the purposes we have right now, is prime. We cannot go any further.